Hello and welcome to another video in this series. In this video, we are going to discuss about the data visualization using Arduino IDE, and we'll also see a demo project. So let's begin by visualization. So visualization is useful to see the trend of the data, right? So if you have the overall data plotted in a graph, something like this, then you can see how the data is reacting, and then you can also get some kind of useful information from this graph, right? So this way you can get more information on the data than just by looking at the data in the table form, right? So basically, we do visualization to gain some kind of insight from the data. So in this course, we are going to learn about the serial plotter, which is an Arduino IDE's inbuilt data visualization system. And also we will look at the ThinkSpeak, which is a cloud IoT platform where you can have a similar feature of data visualization and analysis. So for this video, we are going to look into a serial plotter. So Serial Plotter is basically a visualization tool that is available in the Arduino IDE, and this is the way to plot the data in a real time. So you can find Serial Plotter under Tools, and just below the Serial Monitor, there is a Serial Plotter. And the way the Serial Plotter works is it takes the information from the serial communication, right? So Serial Plotter plots 2D XY axis line graph, and x-axis is basically the time information, which is the time at which the data is sent to plot, and y-axis is basically the value that you want to plot over the time, right? And this information, the value you want to plot, is sent over the serial channel using serial function, which we have already used many times. The value of y-axis is automatically scaled, right, based on the value that you send to print. If you have a large value to print, or you have a small value to print, you don't have to worry about the axis of the plotter. It will automatically adjust the scale. This is what the serial plotter output looks like. So here you can see three different plots in red, yellow, and blue, and all these plots are sent over the serial communication to plot in the serial plotter. So x-axis is the time information, and y-axis is the value to print over that time. So let's see what are the steps you need to follow to use the serial plotter. So the first step is to set up a serial communication channel, right, using serial.begin. Then you can send the data to plot over the serial communication channel using serial.println or serial.print, right? So you can only use the serial monitor or serial plotter at a time. You cannot use both at the same time. Now, how to send the data to plot, right? The data is to be sent using these two functions. So if you want to send a multiple data, right, if you want to print three different values, then you have to send those values using a space separated or comma separated in the same line, right, which looks something like this. So here you can see this is a value from sensor A, this is from sensor B, and this is from sensor C. Now, if you want to plot this value over the serial plotter, then you have to send this value using either separated by space in the same line or separated by comma, something like this in the same line, right? Now, let's look at the demo to have a more clear understanding on how to work with the serial plotter. Now, let's look at this code. So this line here is setting up the serial communication. Uh, I have created three different variables called sensor 1, sensor 2, and sensor 3, which is basically simulating the sensor information that we want to plot over the serial plotter. And all we need to do is that send this information using println function, and then let's wait for 1 second to plot it again. Let's upload this code and use the serial plotter from the tools menu here, serial plotter. All right, so now we can click tools and then the serial plotter, right? So here we can see the value is being printed. At least we are getting some value over here. But one thing to notice here is we have sent actually three sensors information, 1, 2, and 3, but we can only see one value that is fluctuating between 10 and 80, right? So now, why is this, right? Remember, what we said is that in order to print the multiple data, these data has to be sent in a single line separated by comma or the space, right? So now let's look at the serial monitor, how the data is being sent. If you look, data is not being sent in the same line, right? So it is being sent in the separate line. So that is creating the problem. So now let's send the data in the same line. So print ln actually sends the data in the next line, right? So you can remove ln. So this is going to print. Now you can send another print to print the comma, right? You can do something like this. So this will print comma, and then you can send sensor 2, and then again you can send comma. Remember to remove ln. And at the very last line, you can keep ln because after the next cycle, you have to print everything in the new line, right? So how this thing works is it will first print the value of sensor 1, which is 10, and then it will print comma in the same line, right? And then it will print the sensor two's value, which is 40, and then it will print sensor three's value, which is 80. And then because of this ln, the next time sensor 1 is printed, it goes into a new line. So let's see, this is what we want, right? So we want the value that we want to print in the same line separated by space or comma. So now let's look at the plotter window. So we can now see we have three different colors, right? We have red here, we have blue here, and we have green here, right? The value of blue, which is sensor 1, is actually 10. The value of red, which is sensor 2, is actually 40, and the value of the green sensor is 80, right? So this is exactly what we want to print in the serial plotter. Now we only have a red box, blue box, and the green box here. So we don't know what these boxes are, and we don't know which sensor represents with what color, right? And now let's provide a legend here. So in order to give a legend, what you need to do is that you can simply type serial print, and then, or you can do serial print ln, right? We want to have that in the new line. And what you can write here is that sensor 1 separated by comma, sensor 2 separated by comma, sensor 3, right? Now let's send this code. All right, so after sending this code here, we can see the serial plotter is now printing the label as well. So blue line here is sensor 1, red line here is sensor 2, and green line here is sensor 3, right? So that is a little bit more convenient to look at. So these value has to be one at a time, something like this, right? So you have sensor 1, sensor 2, sensor 3. So this acts as a label. And then you have a sensory information. So you have the data that you want to plot. And this is the first round of printing, right? Again, you have the similar thing, that is the second round of printing, right? So on and so forth. All right, so now let's look at a quiz. Let's interface the LDR sensor and plot current sensor's reading, current sensor reading minus 500 and current sensor reading minus 1000, and print those data or plot those data in a serial plotter. Let's pause the video here and write the code. All right, so now let's look at the code here. The very first line is setting up the serial communication, and then we have a variable called uppercase LDR that will hold the value from the photo resistor or a LDR sensor, which is connected to the ESP32 board in pin number 4, right? So this yellow line here is pin number 4. So we are taking the analog value from the pin number 4 and saving the sensor's value to a variable called uppercase LDR. So this line here is sending information LDR and then LDR minus 500 and then LDR minus 1000 with a space in between that will act as a label for the legend, right? And then there is a serial print LDR. So we are sending the first information, and then we are sending a space. We are sending the second information, which is minus 500, and then there is another space, and then there is a final information sensor value minus 1000. And then remember there is an ln here so that the new value will print from new line. Now let's transfer this code and see how does this work. Now, first, let's look at the serial monitor. So this is how the information is sent, right? We are sending the labels LDR, and then there is a space LDR minus 5,000, space minus 10,000, um, and then there is a first data to plot, second data to plot, and then third data to plot, right? So now let's look at the serial plotter. So you see, this is the information that is being obtained from the sensor, right? So we have LDR, which is the blue line here, the value from the LDR, and then we have red line here, value from LDR minus 500, and the green line, LDR minus 1000. So if you see, the value started from 0 and all the way to around 3000 range, right? So now once you move to this window, it is automatically scaled. Now if you look at the y-axis, it ranges from 2400 to 4000, and x-axis is constantly changing. That is the time information. Let me change the intensity of the light here and see how the sensor react to it. So you see, as the light is going down, as the intensity is light is going down, you can see the value is going up all the way to maximum, and as the intensity of light is increasing, you can see the value of sensor is again going down, right? So this is how the real-time plotting works. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in next video.